In this video, we're going to be converting within the metric system. And you'll notice that inside the metric system, I put the symbol SI. This stands for the international system. This is the, quote, international standard for measurements. The United States is one of the few countries, I mean few, that participate in the imperial system, or the old system that the British semi-imposed on us in colonial days. And we still hold to it for some reason. I don't know why, but we still do. So in the metric system, we don't run in weird combinations of 3s and 5,280s and that sort of thing. We actually run in powers of 10. And so the first thing that you'll notice is that we have two different directions we can go. Now, the most complicated thing about the metric system is that rather than saying we have different, wholly different measurement names, we actually change the prefix. And so there are a set of prefixes that you're going to want to know. The most common, I say most common, not the only ones, but the most common prefixes are centi, milli, and kilo. Okay, these are the three that you'll see the most often because they tend to measure out the most useful things. For instance, if you're talking about driving a distance, it's usually going to be kilometers. If you're talking about measuring small things such as, say, the width of a hand or something like that, you're looking at centi. And if you're looking at measuring very small things that you can still see with your naked eye, it's usually measured in milli. And so now we have, for instance, computers nowadays. Personal computers run in the gigahertz range. Now gigahertz is not on my chart, but it is actually the next step beyond mega. And you'll notice that we also tend to run in terabyte hard drives. Tera is the prefix beyond giga. You may have heard of nanotechnology. Nano is the next smaller one from micro. And so there are some that are emerging that are becoming more and more common that are not on my scale here. And I will probably do another video where I have a much more comprehensive scale. As it stands, this will cover the vast majority of people. And now, in the metric system, there are a couple different measurements that I'll be considering. In this video, I'm just going to be working with length. And the metric system in length, the defined unit is the meter. I say defined because the meter is a set amount of distance. And that's it. It never changes. And so they set that rather than setting the centimeter. The mass is the gram. Now, however, this is the unit. This is you're going to start at on my scale. The gram is not the defined unit. The defined unit is actually the kilogram. And so a kilogram is about 2.2 pounds. So that'll kind of give you an idea. And if I recall correctly, it is a iridium platinum or a vanadium platinum cylinder that is housed, and it is the international standard. It is a physical thing that you can go touch if you really, really wanted to. The third thing here is temperature, and they measure that in Celsius rather than the Fahrenheit that is typical in the United States. That's degrees Celsius. There's a third called Kelvin, which is called the absolute scale, typically used in the sciences. We're not really going to consider that here. Okay, so how do we do this? How can we use this chart to our advantage and convert the following? I want to convert 300 centimeters to meters. Okay, now the beauty of it is that with these close ones in here, from kilo down to milli, we are working in powers of 10. Just each time you move from one to another, you just move the decimal place one spot. As you move from left to right, you move your decimal place from left to right. As you move from right to left, you move your decimal place right to left. Now, I've separated mega and micro from these because they go by groups of 3. Okay, so if you wanted to, for instance, start in the unit section and move down to the micro, you'd go down by a power of 10 to deci, down by another power of 10 to centi, a third power of 10 to milli, but then you have to make a jump of 1,000 to get to micro. And so it'd be 10 times 10 times 10. So it jumps 3 powers of 10. On the flip side, if you multiply by 10, you get the deca, and then hecto, and then kilo. Each jump is 10. From kilo to mega is a jump of, again, 1,000. And from there, from those 2 points, micro and mega, they all jump outwards from that at powers or third powers of 10 and multiples of 1,000 after that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this first one. 300 centimeters equals how many meters? Okay, well, if we notice, we're starting in centimeters, and we're going to go to meters. So we move the decimal place 1, 2 to the left. So I'm going to just take 300. There's my decimal place. 1, 2 to the left. So it's going to give me 3 meters. Oh, isn't that awful? Oh, it's terrible. I'm telling you. Oh man, I wish I didn't. I wish I had to do that little bit of work in standard conversions. Ugh. Okay, converting from metric to metric is really this simple. It really is. And so if I want to convert, and now one of the things I should mention here, you probably heard me, and most of us in the United States are aware of meters and centimeters. We just don't like to admit it. But it's the prefix followed by the measurement. It's the symbol of the prefix followed by the symbol for the measurement. Always. And so if there is only one thing, then it is the measurement. So for example, here we have centi, C for centi, meters, M for meter. Now we're going to only M, which means we're only going to meters. There's no prefix. So for the second one here, we have 14 hectometers. And so we're starting at hectometers, and we're going to go to millimeters. Oh, okay, well, if we start here at hectometers, then we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to move the decimal 5 places to the right. And so we just take this 14, and we're going to put a bunch of zeros after it. I don't know how many zeros I'm going to need, and I'll put the decimal place right at the 14. And I'm just going to move that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I'm going to have 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1.4 million millimeters in 14 hectometers. That's conversion in metric. You can just go back and forth like that as long as you stay within the same units. In following videos, I'm going to be converting from standard to metric and then within metric if needs be. And you can do that again, either this way once you get into metric, or you could do it the way that I did it in standard with standard measurements in the daisy chain.